Here's your wrestling news for September 28th, 2022. And we're kicking off with NXT, as Bron Breakker may not be using the Steiner name, but everyone knows about his heritage and who his famous father and uncle are. This week, the reigning NXT champion gave another nod to his uncle Scott Steiner, busting out Freakzilla's most infamous promo. Speaking to JD McDonough and Ilya Dragunov, Bron said how his opponents have a 33 1/3% chance of winning, a reference to Scott's math promo from TNA Wrestling. The promo in question saw Steiner use some unique calculations to explain why he was going to win a triple threat match at Sacrifice 2008 against Kurt Angle and Samoa Joe, which Joe would ultimately win. Bron Breakker may not be using the Steiner name, but is using the Steiner moveset, using holds and throws associated with his dad and uncle. During a recent Table for Three, Scott Steiner had some words about Bron's moves, jokingly giving a warning to his nephew. "You owe me money every time you use my." In NXT, Bron has used both the Frankensteiner and the Steiner Recliner, but he may be having to pay a fee per move if his Hall of Fame uncle gets his way. More from NXT, as this week's show was actually taped last week, and at the time, it was reported that Tony D'Angelo had suffered an injury. There had been speculation as to whether WWE would air the injury or even his match, but that's exactly what happened. D'Angelo squared off against Wes Lee in singles action during the show, with Channing Stax Lorenzo being sent to the back by the referee. At one point during the match, D'Angelo rushed to attack Wes Lee but tripped and landed headfirst on the second turnbuckle, and ringside attendants immediately checked on him. The decision was made that the Don of NXT could no longer compete, but WWE has not provided a clear update on him at this time. Hopefully D'Angelo won't miss much time in the ring, as he's proven to be a highlight of NXT since the relaunch last year, and we wish him a speedy recovery. At AEW All Out, CM Punk captured his second AEW World Championship, but his reign ended shortly after thanks to his own actions. Not only has Punk been stripped of the title due to his words and actions after All Out, but he's also been suspended from the company, but recently re-emerged online. In the photo, Punk can be seen sat with someone and is wearing a sturdy-looking arm brace due to his injury. Punk injured his arm during All Out, with reports that he will need 6 to 8 months off, which made the decision to strip him of the World Championship all the more easier for Tony Khan. Whether Punk even returns to AEW after he's healed is hard to say, as he's being seen as the instigator of the All Out fight, but until a decision is reached, Punk will have to keep looking in from the outside. In March, Tony Khan announced that he had bought Ring of Honor, making this the second promotion in Khan's growing influence on the business. ROH has had 2 shows so far, Supercard of Honor and Death Before Dishonor, but despite a lot of teases, has yet to secure a TV rights deal. During Wrestling Observer Live, Brian Alvarez reported on ROH and said that Khan only bought the company to stop the competition from getting there first. Tony Khan didn't have plans for Ring of Honor. WWE wanted it, and I'm sure that other people wanted it. He didn't have time to draw up business plans, so the opportunity arose and he bought it. Tony Khan may not have been 100% on board with the ROH purchase, but he has the company now, and will continue to try and get a lucrative TV deal for the veteran promotion. Over the past few months, plenty has changed in WWE, with several released superstars being brought back and the NXT UK brand being shelved for NXT Europe. Now, more changes are expected to take place soon, this time involving the titles fans see on TV. According to a new report from Fightful, WWE has 3 completely finished sets of titles that are in line for a potential debut. The trusted championship news source Belt Fan Dan has reported that the new titles include new WWE tag titles, which will feature a black strap, dual plates, and a big WWE logo in the center. There are also old, never-used tag title designs, which look like the current WWE Women's Tag Team titles, but on different colored leather straps. When Fightful spoke to the superstars themselves about titles, they spoke about the recent change of using Velcro instead of snaps, and while they admitted that the Velcro is convenient, it also looks bad cosmetically. New titles aren't the only plans in store though, as the report adds that Triple H is planning on some cosmetic changes across Raw, SmackDown, and NXT, with the first being the recent change in logo for the Gold brand. It's also said that WWE did have plans for changes in the works, but that Vince McMahon's retirement and also Triple H's rise to power has accelerated those changes, including new titles. Details are scarce about which titles other than the WWE Tag Team Gold are set to change, but fans could be tuning in to a very different-looking WWE very soon. Earlier this month, WWE announced that NXT 2.0 will now be NXT again, a change that delighted fans who much preferred the Gold brand. NXT 2.0 was the result of major changes being made, the vast majority of which proved to be unpopular, but the name change may not be a sign of bigger things to come. On Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer explained that while the NXT 2.0 branding is finished, the concept of NXT 2.0, to focus on younger, newer talent, is very much still there. They're going back to the old colors, but the same philosophy in the sense of mostly younger guys coming in and younger women coming in and everything. When NXT first relaunched in 2012, the plan was for the brand to be a developmental ground for talent, but it quickly became a third brand seen as equal to Raw and SmackDown. Now NXT is a developmental show once again, as the goals of NXT 2.0 live on, even if the name doesn't. Now Dave Meltzer has been a part of wrestling for decades now, and there's no journalist more famous, or rather infamous, associated with the industry. Despite Meltzer's legacy, WWE has very rarely ever made a mention of him, but he did get a shout-out during this week's NXT. In a pre-taped segment, Andre Chase hyped up his North American Championship qualifier against Von Wagner with a press conference, and a journalist called Dave asked how confident he was, given he's never beaten Wagner. Chase replied with an explosive rant saying that's not a 5-star question, a reference to Meltzer pioneering the 5-star rating for wrestling matches that he uses to this day. It was certainly an interesting moment and a rare time WWE has made reference to Meltzer on TV, and we'll have to see if Chase gives a 5-star performance when he takes on Von Wagner. As of late, there's been a lot of talk about AEW's roster and the various names who could be leaving. Yesterday, it was reported that Tony Khan will not be granting releases for the time being, and that Malachi Black and Buddy Matthews will be staying with the company after all. Black had previously requested his release, and on Twitter, fans reacted to the new rule by the AEW president. Some called out Khan for using the same practices that Vince McMahon used, saying that AEW is sounding like a prison, and others said that there'd be more outrage if WWE were reported to be blocking those wanting to leave. Others saw it differently, saying it's fair for Khan to not grant releases, as talent signed a contract for a fixed number of years, and that should be respected. However you feel, it appears nobody is leaving AEW, as the last thing Tony Khan needs right now is people leaving for WWE. On tonight's AEW Dynamite, New Japan's Juice Robinson will face Jon Moxley in a title eliminator, meaning that if he can get a win over the AEW World Champion, then Robinson will earn a future title match. When a fan questioned why AEW is bringing Robinson in and why he's even getting close to the AEW World title picture, Tony Khan defended his decision with a tweet. "Because Mox told me it's one of his favorite things about AEW. We've seen the champs go out and put up or shut up versus deserving wrestlers from all over the planet, giving them a chance to earn a title shot if they can beat the champion, which Juice has done twice in NJPW already. Robinson already has a victory over Moxley this year, having beaten the AEW World Champion as part of a fatal 4-way at May's New Japan Capital Collision, and making him the only wrestler other than CM Punk to have a win over Moxley this year. Whether Robinson can repeat this, only time will tell, but a win tonight would do huge things for his career and guarantee Robinson a chance at the title." On last week's SmackDown, Karrion Kross once again got the better of Drew McIntyre thanks to an assist from his wife Scarlett. Scarlett shot a fireball at McIntyre, which accidentally went over his head, and now we know more of the original plan. During the latest Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer said how the segment was largely impromptu because the fireball missed and didn't hit Drew in the face as planned. There had been concern over the segment as Scarlett was using what's called a fire gun, which WWE doesn't usually go for with spots like these, and when the fireball missed, Drew paused for a second before attacking Kross. McIntyre and Scarlett somehow communicated that she was to instead hit him with a low blow, but what fans saw was absolutely not the plan. Not only did Drew have to think on his feet, but he also did the entire segment while battling serious food poisoning, and we can only hope things stick to the plan on the road to their strap match at Extreme Rules. Next week, WWE will have its season premiere of SmackDown, and the company is going all out by bringing in the Tribal Chief. Despite his schedule being much lighter these days, Roman Reigns will be on the show, and we're sure he'll have some choice words for the WWE roster, especially Logan Paul, next Friday night. During last week's AEW Rampage, the Great Muta came to the aid of his old rival Sting, helping him and Darby Allin defeat the House of Black. Sting and Muta hugged in the ring afterwards, but now the pair are set to work another show together as part of the Japanese legend's retirement. Pro Wrestling Noah has confirmed that Sting will team with Muta on January 22nd next year in what will be the penultimate stop on the latter's retirement tour, and it'll be interesting to see which two wrestlers step in to take on this tag team of legends. And we're ending today with the White Rabbit, WWE's latest mystery, which many fans will mark the return of Bray Wyatt. Wyatt hasn't competed since WrestleMania 37, where Alexa Bliss cost him a match against Randy Orton, and now Bliss may have a role in this White Rabbit saga. During a previous episode of Raw, Bayley and Bliss were in a match when the lights of the arena flickered and displayed red lights, similar to the White Rabbit teases seen at live events and during commercial breaks. In a promo, Bliss also used the phrase 10 feet tall, which is also used in the White Rabbit song by Jefferson Airplane, which has been used throughout these bizarre instances. Bliss has seemingly denied any involvement with the angle, tweeting that she literally has no idea what people are talking about, but the former women's champion may be protesting a little too much and hiding her real involvement in WWE's latest mystery. Well guys, that's our news for today. Please share your comments below. Also hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to receive all notifications. And as always, thanks for watching.